All right. So earlier I took the part of the hub off because I wasn't sure about, there had to be a seal on the back here. And sure enough there was, but I was missing it on the other one. I can throw that away now. So I took this apart to make sure that I was putting the other one together properly. I took a bunch of photos of this just to be sure. I am ready. I'm going to mount this up on the vise just so it doesn't go rolling off. Save the parts you need to save. Save the castle nut. If yours is damaged, you can always go buy another one at a hardware store. Those are a common stock item that they'll have. I'm just going to put this up here. Just make sure I'm clamped on there and not bending anything while I'm doing it. Oh, I'm on these stupid bolts. These things can come out. You don't hit them too hard, they'll just damage them. They'll just pop. You saw the other one came right out. Let's try this now. See if she's still as stubborn. Take that. Yeah, I had this hole in the bench here from when I was rebuilding the automatic transmission. And I'll get a grommet or something to cover that hole at some point. But obviously it came in handy having a spot where I could set that. This wouldn't get damaged. And I can get this stupid bolt out, which I'm pretty obvious gonna have to replace now. Oh. And now I gotta get that castle nut off of there that I totally boogered on there now. That's okay, it did its job. I'm sure that bolt is toast now. Oh yeah, them threads are stripped. Goner. All right, that's fine. Bolts are cheap compared to having the wheels fall off your car, so no problem. Okay. So still being held on here by this bolt on the front. I guess I can turn this around. So this is kind of how it would look like when you would have it on the car. If the backside was actually the side that was up. I need to get a little more height out of this. So to get this apart, you want to get these springs out of here first. So we'll start with these upper springs, and then pretty much the rest of this just comes apart. I want to get the tension off first before I release these other pieces. I talked about this other piece earlier that had fallen out. That might have been me while I'm manhandling it, but don't lose that piece. The one I lost, I don't know where it went now. Here it is. Don't lose these little pieces. They're the little plungers that come out of here. I don't own the special brake tool, and this is how I've always done it with my father. Get yourself a substantial screwdriver, not a little cheapy one for like a home repair kit. And I've always had good luck just walking these out of here. And they're going to give you new springs here anyway. So you're getting all new springs with this kit, so it's no real big deal. These won't come flying out because they're hooked underneath the edge. Well, I guess it did because the end broke. So springs are gone. We get all new with the kit. This piece will come out of here. Well, maybe not right now. Oh yeah. That piece comes out. I'm going to save this stuff. I haven't put the other one together. I know it comes with all the springs, but I'm not sure about everything else. I know it has this plate and this arm and most of these springs, but just want to be careful. So now to get this part out, to get these little, I'll point to this one over here, to get these little guys out, it's kind of like a T, comes up, and then it has a slot, and it'll slide right down through the slot. And one of the best ways I found to do it is you grab a needle nose, and you're going to grab that little tab so you can turn it. So what you're going to do is you're going to push down on it from the back side, hold up on the pin, and just turn this little pin, turn it to match the slot, out she comes. These springs and this piece, this little piece that was in here, that all comes in the new kit. We'll save them anyway, just to make sure. Same thing on this one on this side, a little harder to see for you because it's blocked by this edge here. Just push down, turn that little tab, and she'll come right out. These don't have much spring to them, so it's not like you're letting loose a valve spring or anything like that. Nothing dangerous. This little guy, this whole thing now, don't lose your plunger. This whole thing now will come off of here. This is your adjuster that automatically adjusts. This is a slot that you can adjust it through to adjust your brakes up or down. When you're going to take it apart, if you can't get the brakes off, you can adjust it down from the outside with just a screwdriver or whatever on this little roller. This kit even had the adjusters, which was encouraging because cleaning those can be kind of a pain. Here's the old brake shoes, and really if you look at them, so I'm saying this car didn't get driven much after the last brake change. So the races were perfect. I didn't even change out the races in the hub. I'll inspect these also. I'm just going to replace the bearings and not the races. But look at that. These things are like brand new. Now, I don't know what kind these are, or if maybe they were, they could have been mistreated and got really hot even though they're not worn. So I'm going to throw them away. I bought brand new ones, and the actual shoes themselves are really cheap. The brake drums did not have any grooves or damage to them. That's the other reason that fairly certain it wasn't driven much, because normally they'll get grooved really bad. Like I just mentioned, you have to go back. You have to go in there and you have to back off the pads in order to even get it apart. And that was not the case. So this thing has not been driven very much. I have a feeling it's been broken down a good part of its life, and that's why they didn't get driven. No wear on the brakes if you're not going anywhere. Okay, so this bolt holds the rest of this together. There's two separate bolts for this and two bolts for the flex line bracket. So I'm going to break this one loose, and we'll see if this one will break loose. Oh yeah, not bad. Okay. So this bolt is similar to the other two, but it is just a little bit shorter. So if you mix it up, obviously there's two here and one here. The oddball one, that happens to be the shorter one, goes in here. So I'm just going to take the two bolts out of this brake line holder. It's got no leverage here. And normally would not use an extension like that. And all this stuff, I'm going to do the same thing with this as I did with the other one over there. Just clean it all up. Degrease it. Hit it with the flapper or the wire wheel. Clean it up. Prime it. Paint it. Make everything all nice and new again. Okay, so this is all apart now. And these are a different size. And I don't think I could get on the socket with the socket. I think I had to use a wrench. And fortunately, most of this stuff, even with all the rust on the rest of the car, most of this stuff is not rusted because there was so much leakage from the wheel cylinders. I was going through like one of the containers of brake fluid, which is what, like a half a quart, something like that. Okay, this thing should just come off for here without having to take these off. Now I could use a socket on these now. Anyhow, get these out of here. But I was going through like a container of brake fluid a week. I started buying bigger containers. It was, these wheel cylinders were just leaking like crazy. I had a puddle on the floor. I had a rainbow in my garage from all the junk that was coming off the car. Okay, now that those two bolts are out, this wheel cylinder should just fall off of here. There's that. That's absolute junk. Throwing that away. I have the new wheel cylinders. Now we can just go clean all this up. We can inspect our spindle again. This one's a little not as nice as the other one. This isn't the actual bearing surface, but this is where the inside of the bearing has to come down onto. And she's usable. Get the majority of the grease out of here. Oh yeah, that bearing's brand new. Yeah, someone took the time, put all brand new bearings in here. That's perfect. So I'm not going to reuse the roller part of the bearing because that could have dirt and whatnot in it, but there's no scoring on this at all. They've got this chocked full of grease. I'll get that all cleaned out, get these inspected. I got my parts coming tomorrow. And then we can get it all put back together. But yeah, these look beautiful. I'll inspect them again with an eye loop, but I don't think there's any reason I need to replace those. We'll get that grease dug out of there. We'll put all new grease in there. Get everything cleaned up. You know, you saw what our new one looked like on the other one. You know, that was what I started with. Started with this greasy mess. And she looks like brand new when I got done. So, just takes a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of work, and get her cleaned up. Sprayed some degreaser on here a couple minutes ago. And the stuff like foamed up like crazy. Never had a degreaser do that. So I'm hoping this stuff's really good. Well, you can only cut through so many layers of dirt. But it's definitely loosened it up. This is Super Tech from Walmart. Engine degreaser, low VOC formula. And yeah, I'm going to get some of my tools dirty, but whatever. Look at that stuff. My poor bench. Already did the other side of that one. There's really not, well, I guess there is stuff in the back of this one. You can just see it kind of bubbling up right away. Wow. We'll let that soak for a while and we'll come back. I was doing a little more mock-up on this and then realized I put these bolts in the wrong way, which normally wouldn't matter because well, I couldn't get the head out past the brake fitting here. And they're supposed to go in from the other side. Then I've got my new arms, and either I bent this or I don't know, maybe these arms get a little bit different. I couldn't get this to fit, so then I had to pry this whole works over a little bit. My lines are fine in order to get this in here. I'm going to go buy some new bolts. I ended up messing up. I showed you that other bolt that I messed up, and that was kind of silly of me anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and replace all 4 of these. I can only find 3 of my 4 nuts that I took off the car. So it's, you know what, at this point, I'm just going to replace all 4 with grade 8s, zinc plated. I don't have to worry about them rusting or nothing like that. So I'm going to go ahead, continue with this. I got to get the other one cleaned up and painted yet, but I just wanted to let you know that I did get this arm on here, and this wasn't quite clearing. Again, I don't know if I bent it when I was cleaning it, bent it when I took it off. It's been laying around on the floor, so it could have gotten bent too. But anyway, this is all on here now. It's good to go. Just waiting for some new bolts. I'll pop these out of here, slide them back in, and then I can assemble the rest of the drum on this one. But I have to work on the other one anyway, so I'm really not out of anything right now. Trying to keep things organized. I'm going to bring all the parts for the other one over here now. I did manage to get the seals, so the other one, I have the seal with it. This is the seal for this one. So let's get these cleaned up, painted, and prepped. Did my first round of cleaning on them yesterday, and they still have some dirt on there, but a little bit of surface rust from today. So I'm going to give them another scrape all the way around, get the rest of the, you can still see there's a bunch of dirt on this one. I didn't do the outside. Just get them another really good clean, get them prepped, get them painted. This is the only other part that I did paint was this, just for fun, not necessarily. I need to clean these up because these need to go into the wheel cylinders. These are the plungers, so these are pretty bad, and they don't come with the new wheel cylinders, so need to reuse them. So on my other hub, I did not paint the back side of this, only this side. All I did was I just covered up the studs. This part here, I didn't mention on the other one, there's a piece that's supposed to go in between here when you assemble this. When you assemble this, there's like a rubber piece that's supposed to go in here. I don't have that. You can either make one, or I'm just going to hit it with some sealant. It basically is just to keep the dust out. Everything is bolted together, so you're not going to have a rattle. You just want to have it clean, or want to have it sealed so it stays clean inside. So, okay, so we're going to start working on the assembly of this brake set. This is the one off the passenger side, and when I ordered the kits, they do have different part numbers. There's one main kit with some springs in it that are the same for both sides, but then this part kit came here, 2532. Let's go ahead and start working on assembling the drum. I have the other one partially assembled and I didn't go through it, so I'm going to go through this one completely. I might even make this available as a separate video for assembling a drum brake set on an A-body. So when I ordered the set, I ordered a rebuild kit. So there's part of it that comes like this. That's just all the springs and the common items. Then there's two other separate bags, and don't mix these up. there's a 2532 and a 2533. Now the thing is with these is actually the part number on this is F98362S, and this one is F98363S. And if you look them up, this is for the right-hand side, front or rear, and this is for the left-hand side. So we're going to be assembling the one right now for the passenger side, so that's the right-hand side on our American car. So we're going to open up this kit. Again, this other one has all the common parts in it. So there'll be, you know, 2 of everything that I should need in this one. And here we go. Try not to lose this. Maybe I'll leave some of it. Just leave it in the bag with it open here so I don't lose it. And the reason I knew that it had left and right kit is I figured, well, with the part numbers being different, is I still had my bracket. Let me go grab it real quick. So this is the bracket off of the passenger side, and the other bracket is backwards. So there is a left and a right to these, and the reason is because it's the brake adjuster. It has to be a certain way, and so now I know I have the correct kit. All right, so what else we need? I've got my seal, my bearings, my cap, the back plate, this, bolts. I messed up that one bolt, so I went and bought another grade 8 bolt. I picked up some new nuts. Fortunately, I couldn't find grade 8 nuts. I could only find grade 5. That should be fine. I lost one of my other set of bolts. I don't know what happened, so I just bought new nuts for them. I lost one of the 4. I still haven't found it. But these grade 5s should be good enough for now. I'll do some research. If they're not, they can always be replaced with it on the car. It's not a big deal. All right, so I've got all this stuff's all cleaned up and ready to assemble. So let's get started. So this part here, this bolt is the one with kind of the special Pontiac pattern on there or whatever. They did that on a few different bolts. And I don't have the seal for this, so I'm just going to use some sealant on it. And yeah, looks like I'm going to want to have these bolts in here. Now these go in from this other side. Am I doing this the right way? No, I'm doing this the wrong way. Did this the other day. Did the same thing. I did it backwards. All right, because these go through here, and then your arm. All right. Oh, I gotta go find this bracket that goes on here, and then we'll see how this fits on here. This goes over the top of this, facing forward. This is the bottom. So this is gonna go on here like this. Just gonna run these on here for now. Not gonna tighten them down. When I do run them down, I'll put some Loctite on these nuts. I just kind of want everything in place to make sure that it's going to fit. Okay, found my bracket, got it painted, got it on there. Notice it has a bend that goes around this bracket. So these are on here, just snugged down. Again, so it's for mock-up. I'll tighten them later. I'll put some Loctite on them. Got that in here. The next part I'm going to do, before I forget, is go ahead and get this mounted. So your brake cylinder only installs one way. There is a flat on here, and that will go towards this. And it won't let you install it any other way because there's not enough room. So you just line up these 2 bolts from the other side. Using the original hardware. The new wheel cylinders did not come with the bolts, so don't lose your originals. Alright, that should be everything on this side that we need to do until we decide to make the brake line. I like to do that last because you got to flip it over and you don't want it laying on that. So let's go ahead and get the hub on here, and then we can get all the other stuff around it, okay? hub time. On this one, I have chosen not to replace the races. Just like on the other one, I left them because they were perfect. There was literally no wear whatsoever that I could tell. You're probably supposed to replace them as a pair. That's fine. I just decided not to. Do whatever you prefer. But I am replacing the roller part of it. So let me go ahead and get the bearings packed, get them in here, get the seal on, and then we can get to assembling the rest of this. So here's my bearing. Here's the new race that I won't be using. Here's the bearing. Here's my bearing grease. Okay, do it however you want to do it. I know the only thing I've ever dumped in here is clean bearings. So I just go like that, put it in my fairly clean hand. My hand's cleaner than it looks, trust me. And just keep wiping it around until it comes out the top of the bearing. So anyway, get that full of grease, drop her in there. Okay, this one gets a seal on this side. Let me go wipe my hands off so I can handle the seal. Here's the seal that goes in there, and great, it's the wrong size. Could have swore the other seal I had was the right size. 7607. 7607. This one's too small for this also. So this hub must be off of a different car, which I have suspected for a long time. 35565R. Well, I'm gonna have to do some research because this other this seal here actually fit on my fits on the other one fine. It's gonna press in there just fine. Well, let me show you how you press the seal in. I'll go grab the other one. Okay, so now let's press the seal in there. So I'm gonna have to order a different seal for the other hub. So try to get it as even as you can. This is not a main bearing seal on an engine, so it's just the grease that would maybe leak out, and it's going to sit up against here anyway. So that just sits on there just like that. And since this doesn't get this wobbles on here, it actually is a fairly tight fit. Probably a little tighter than it should be on this one. I had it on the other car, the other hub. There. I had it on the other hub. Yeah, that's pretty much where she goes. There's going to be a gap here. Don't panic that you have a gap. There's going to be a gap. My gap was too big. Same thing here. Here's the race for the other bearing. There we go. Don't forget to put in your that retaining washer lock. I'll show it to you just a second here as soon as I get some of this grease off my fingers. It's here somewhere. Okay, so you've got a washer like this that has a notch in it. That notch goes into the keyway on here. And then your castle nut goes on top. That's a little too much. I'll back up to the last Allen that lined up, that one right there, or the Allen, the last hole. Put in an appropriate size cotter key. I got these ridiculously over length ones at Harbor Freight, and I'm just going to cut them here because they're way longer than they need to be. Remember, it's got to fit under that cap. My dad always taught me to bend them sideways, but maybe, yeah, this thing's so big I'm going to have to go up with this one. And go up with this one too. cap goes on. And usually put a bunch of grease in the cap as well. And I don't want to dip it in there because I'll get the whole cap greasy. So, all right, I'm going to grab my rubber mallet. So the thing's already dented up. Anyway, probably ain't going to hurt if they hit it with my metal hammer. But I just painted it. There we go, a little bit more. Something that I didn't mention earlier probably goes worth mentioning. All right. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time wrapping my head around this, but so the 90102, which I have here, is the driver's side. The 90101 serial number on here is for the passenger side, so the right-hand side of the car. So this one goes on here, it's right side up, okay? And if this was mounted on the car, the front of the car was that way, this knuckle is toward the front. The joint is toward the front. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. It's kind of obvious when you go to put it on here, how everything goes. Again, make sure you don't mount this backwards. This needs to be down here so you have room to make your brake line to go into here. See, just like the other one I made, right into here. So now let's go ahead and get the rest of this put on here. The seal for the other side, what I did is I just put it in the vise and I just kinked it out around and just tapped it on there. It's just a pinch fit anyway, and so it's on there. It's just a dust cover. I'm sure it'll be fine. If it fails, I'm sure I'll hear it and I'll have to take it apart. But pretty easy deal. All right, let's get this mess back together. Okay, so this little guy here, he's what holds your springs. So he's going to go up here. Okay. And the reason I did the hub first is so, I mean, once I get all this on here, yeah, I'll be done. That's it. All right. So this is the general parts bag. And this one is the one that I mentioned before that I marked as right-hand side because I am doing the passenger side one first. I had already pulled out this bracket. So, like in this case, I didn't take my other one apart yet. So I've got it to go by for an example. So there's that. Here's the spring that goes to that. And to stretch him on there. I'm just going to stretch him on, probably just put him in the vise lightly. I think I found a fairly easy way to do it. I actually had it on here and took it back off so I could show you. Put this little piece on here. I put some tape on it so it won't fall because it doesn't like to stay on there. Take a fairly skinny screwdriver. Don't want one that's too fat because otherwise it'll get trapped in here. And then you just lift on both edges. Lift on both edges and get the spring and the hook up here. And this, like I say, I had it on here once and I took it off just so I could show you. And probably should be wearing safety glasses for this because if this were to fail, it could be pretty bad. Anyway, there we go. Now, I got this clamped in the vise pretty good because you don't want that flying out as you're pulling up. There you go. Got that one on there now. Take the tape off. It's good to go. So these do not matter which way they go. Okay. So here's where the fun part starts. Just kind of set these in here. Okay. Trying to do this so make sure that you can actually see what's going on, okay? There we go. So on the bottom here, if you can see this piece, okay, this is the brake adjuster. Okay. You want to have that adjusted, just adjust it all the way in to start. This goes down here on the bottom. It has a piece that fits over the end of it. You can put some anti-seize on there if you want, or just I'll put a little grease on there. I'm thinking more of the person 20 years from now when they go to try to adjust this, or even 5 years from now if it's not adjusting. That could be why. All right, so I don't know if you can see this little window down here, but that's where the brake adjuster has to go. So it does not go this way. That wouldn't work. It needs to go to this side. Okay. Again, this is kind of an exercise. You have to kind of balance things a little bit. It's not much easier on the car either. Okay, so now there's a spring that goes in between these two. Okay, here's your little rubber piece for down here. There's a spring. This spring goes on the side here somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that goes on the side for this. This is your brake adjuster. This goes here. This little guy is actually the pivot for that. Okay. Sorry about that. My battery went dead. So I was looking at some more of my pictures. You get this piece in here. You got to get the spring in here. So I put the spring in first, then pulled this apart, dropped the two little tabs, the slots, dropped them in there. And yes, this spring rides on the side of here. That keeps it from spinning backwards by itself. Then this piece should be able to go back in. Spring goes in there. All right, so this piece does not come in my new kit. It looks something like that, but it's the wrong one. Okay, so yeah, very important not to throw away any of your old stuff. So I'm going to clean this piece up because it's got a little dirt and whatnot on it. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean up both pieces for both drums, and then we'll get back to putting this back together. All right, I cleaned those up. While I'm waiting for those to dry, because I painted them a little bit, I'm going to put these plungers in. So these plungers go in, and these things are kind of like a shape of an H, and they go just like that. It's kind of being held a little bit together by this bottom one. Haven't quite got it all together yet. We're getting there. Like I say, I'm waiting for that other piece to dry. The springs. I still haven't figured out why there's a difference. Looked up a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to install the one that looks a little bit shorter over here, because it already has a spacer with the extra piece in it. To me, doesn't look like it would really make a difference. I think one of my springs rolled away though. So poke this up through the back side, and you should be able to, let's do the easy one first. This one over here is going to be the easier of the two, because this one doesn't have the arm in the way. All right. Do not fall in the hole in the floor. Thank you. So, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm holding this pin up in the back, holding it up through that piece with the spring on there, curly side down. And this part goes on top, and you want to line this up with the pin so the slots line up, and then press it together. Just that easy. So what you want to do is press it down with this open. This is actually a lot easier to do on the car. Because you don't have to hold on to this whole thing. But anyway, that's the gist of it. I'll keep trying here. I'll get it. I was trying to make this somewhat of a comprehensive video to show you how to do everything. I ended up finishing this last night. The battery had went dead. I was trying to get everything lined up, and I finally got it all together. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough parts to do the other side, because this one took the white springs, and now all I got left is blue springs, and these aren't, these are too long. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the other side. So we'll have to get that one over here. I got everything cleaned up together on that one. I went and I did buy new bolts for the other one. This one, and I got my grade 8 nuts. So this one here is going to use one of the originals. I couldn't find any more of these bolts. I found 2, but I couldn't find 3. So this original one, it's going to have to work. That'll be fine. But I did find grade 8 nuts that I'm going to replace these grade 5 nuts with. Just want to have all grade 8 hardware. You don't want to mix and match on that. Especially, again, holds the wheel on the car. Alright, was doing a little video editing and realized I'm already at 42 minutes and I hadn't even shown the second hub. This is the second one that's already together. So I had a bunch of video I went ahead and just kind of tossed because it's showing you the same thing twice, and I really didn't get to show that much detail. I had quite a few struggles. Anywho, it's together. I gotta basically just gotta go in the car, put the drum on there, and it's good to go. I think this is the one. No, the other one I have one more brake line to make. Maybe I'll make a quick short on that or something on flaring brake lines for that hard line. So. Appreciate everybody following along. Please like and subscribe, comment on the videos. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. I'm just getting started with this channel. If you have any comments, concerns, questions about a project you're working on, I'd be glad to answer your questions. Might not have the answer, but I might be able to point you in the right direction. Again, thanks for everybody for following along, and see you in the next video. Thanks again.